This video is brought to you by Cracks Only. The link is in the video description below to get the latest gear off their website. Whether you play football or you don't, there is something there for everybody. Straight out of LA. Check it out. What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to match day, 28th of February. It is FA Cup day. We've got Nottingham Forest later, and we have to win. We've got to get through to the next round. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody getting involved. Let us know where you're watching from, how you're feeling this morning about the game. Get your predictions in as well. Adrian, I see you early. Ed, I see you nice and early. Kenny Fan TV, Joe Blackman, Joe H, Tabrez, Aslan, Daniel, I see you all. Big up to Sean as well. Relentless Kid, John James. So many of you guys getting involved straight away, right off the bat. We're waiting for us to go live. Big up to George, says good morning. Nesso says big up. Marion Jones says morning, Flex and Owen. Big up to every single one of you. House rules as usual. Smash a like on the video. You got to do it. You know what it is. We want to get to that 250 mark and go on from there. But 250 for a Man United win with decimated squad. More injuries, but another W. Let's get like into that. Because we are decimated. We got to talk about that.
We are.
As the team going to? What's he going to do?
I was prepping for the match view later on, and I was doing predicted 11 for one of the graphics, and I was looking at it, and I was going, "Who actually is going to play?" I was looking at the back four. Thankfully, Victor Lindelof's available. I say thankfully because I was looking at so Lindelof. I think he's going to play centre back. I think with Johnny Evans. So. But then who's playing left back?
Or maybe he might keep Lindelof left back and put Camboila and bloody.
I was thinking that it might be that, or maybe Dallo moves over. But it is kind of crazy, the injury one. I think today is an injury one where you can go. Actually,
it's like even tactically, I just don't know what you like. Just who you're going to play, especially if Bruno and all of those are injured. But yes, we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about Ten Hag hitting back and defending himself as well, backing himself because. The Hounds were out yesterday. A lot of reports saying that, he's under pressure and this, that, and the other. So we have to talk about that. The backing of Antony as well, like he was doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that. With a funny piece with Jamie Jackson, who's just going over. Shout out Jamie Jackson. He's wears his heart on his sleeve. He don't care, mate. He just says things. How he thinks they should be said. So big up to Jamie Jackson. And like we said, the Forest against United game later on today as well. So much to go for. This video is brought to you by Cracks Only, as you saw right at the beginning of the video. The link is in the video description below to get all your Cracks Only merch. They're doing big things out there in Los Angeles. Right, let's start off straight off the bat with Ten Hag hits back. He was very bullish yesterday, I thought.
Yes, so he was bullish in the first part of the press conference yesterday, obviously talking about Jamie Carragher. He's a big hater. He's not objective. Maybe he had a point initially, but after 30 minutes, we came up with solutions and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Spoke a little bit about his future and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and talks of INEOS. But really in the second part, the primary focus really of that, the second part of the press conference was his future and also Antony. So we'll start off with his future first. So Erik ten Hag was asked about whether he's on trial with INEOS between now and the end of the season. And Erik ten Hag said, I know what I'm doing. I've had many talks with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and consistently, we are having talks about the future together, stressing on together, a future together. He was also asked if he would find it beneficial if Sir Jim Ratcliffe said he would be the manager next season. I think it was Rob Dawson who asked this question, saying, would it be beneficial for him? Would it be beneficial for the fans? Just to remove that level of ambiguity, of course. Jim Ratcliffe last week in the interviews when he was asked about Erik ten Hag said, I don't think it's appropriate to comment on anyone in the organisation. Erik ten Hag responded to that by saying, I'm here on a contract for 3 seasons, so I don't care. I'm only focusing on the process. And he stressed that quite a bit in those answers. I don't care, which is sort of going, I think you probably do. But he continued on by saying, I have many talks with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, especially also with Sir Dave Brailsford and others in that group. I know what we are talking about. I have a strong belief, and I feel that they believe in me. He also said, I'm not focusing about my personal circumstances. I'm just focusing on the team, and I have to find solutions for the team so that they can perform the best way they can. finally, he was asked once again about questions over his future. And he says, I don't get distracted by noise. I think that's for you, for the fans to talk about. Maybe if you talk about one defeat and then the manager's position is in discussion, I think it's quite opportune after 2 months without a defeat. So that's where you get into the bullish territory, Flex. He's saying not only we're having talks about our future together. On top of that, he's also saying that actually, I think all of the discussion about my future and about my, possibly being on trial and suddenly I'm under pressure, it's quite opportune because you weren't saying that because I was undefeated in 2024. Now I lose one game and suddenly I'm under pressure. What do you make of that? Is that a fair assessment, or is it kind of a case of, well, it's not necessarily just because of the game against Fulham, it's more a totality of the season as a whole as well?
Yeah, some people have it in their heads that as soon as we lose, it turns on Eric and then it's all horrible. When in reality, that is some people. That is, some people do that. But I think the reality of it all is that there's a big feeling amongst some that like it's less it's less about just one loss and then now it's all bad. It's looking at it overall, even when we win, even when the way we've been playing on a consistent basis since, well, really, it's probably about a year now, probably to the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not pretend
around that time.
Let's not pretend that because we've done fan views outside of Old Trafford. I've done full-time views and I've spoken to fans after the games in let's just say 2024.
Yeah.
And there still has been this split of opinion, hasn't it? Of, I know we won today, but how well did we play and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if it's, obviously the intensity is ramped up after you lose at home to Fulham, first time in 20 years. But has it come completely out of nowhere?
No, it hasn't.
Sure
and it's louder. It's just got louder. And also, people put it into context with some of the results that have been happening. So we lost to Bournemouth at home this year, did we not? We lost to Palace.
Bournemouth, Palace, Brighton.
Brighton turned over badly. So there's been some bad ones. And remember, this time last year, we'd got the home form bang on. We've got the home form exactly where we wanted it to be. Old Trafford was back to being a fortress. We beat all of the top six there. We beat Spurs, beat Arsenal, beat Man City, we beat Liverpool, beat Chelsea. That was 4-1. I remember João Felix was playing then. Yeah, we beat them. So we beat everyone at home last season and got it back to, I think we only lost one game last year. And I think that was the first game of the season. Then there was like a draw against Newcastle and maybe one other team, Southampton, when we went down to 10 men. But other than that, Old Trafford was a fortress again. And then now it seems like we're back to square one again, where people come to Old Trafford and fancy it. And we're lucky to sort of get out. And we look at the Brentford game, until the last minute, Scott McTominay come on and saved us. So look, I don't think that and then some of the away performances like last season when we got licks, like they're still there. So I think people are entitled to sort of go, I don't know, man, what's happening here? You can't question somebody for thinking that. And then obviously that's when you get the immediate pivot of uncomfortability. No injuries. No. It's okay. It's okay. I promise you, it's okay to talk about everything. So I don't think it's come out of the blue. But I do expect Ten Hag to be like that. He should be bullish. He should be backing himself.
It's not going to roll over, is he? In the press conference, why would he do that?
He should be saying, "I don't care. It's not about me. I'm here to do my job. I'm here to get this team playing together. I'm here for the future." That's what I want to hear him saying, because I want him to survive this. And if he's going to survive this, we'll put it this way: we're running out of weeks / match days to have some form of turnaround, in my opinion, where INEOS go, you know what, this is the future. Let's now give him the new contract and let's go for it. Let's really, because he's only got a year left in the summer.
He's got contract for 3 seasons. That's what he said. Exactly. Contract for 3 seasons. Look, and this is always the funny thing with press conferences. Obviously, I've done quite a few of them. Is that you do have to take, with every manager, you have to take things with a pinch of salt, because some questions are posed by journalists, and then it's a case of, what's he going to say? Of course, he has to say, no, I don't care, or yes, I'm going to be here for the future. He's not going to say the opposite. So you have to kind of take that, or always look at it through those kind of glasses when you look at it. When it comes to his future, and this is an interesting one. Maybe we'll put a poll in the chat in just a second, because again, I think it was Rob Dawson who asked this, saying, would it be beneficial for you if Jim Ratcliffe said, yes, you're going to be the manager next season, or publicly said that you're going to be manager next? We're sticking with Eric. Eric's our guy. Everything's going to be built around him. And he says he doesn't care. Yes, he does. yes, he does.
Of course he cares.
And also, and the question was, would it be beneficial for the fans? And I'm curious to know, maybe the people can let me know in the chat about this. If, Jim Ratcliffe came out, let's say within the next couple of weeks, and said one way or the other, we're sticking with Eric, or at the end of the season, a bit like Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich, at the end of the season, we're going to go in a different direction. Eric's going to leave, and then that would that settle any issues you have positively or negatively surrounding Erik ten Hag? You know what I mean?
We're such a crazy fan base. It probably wouldn't, because the people who want him to stay staunchly would be like, for God's sake, player power wins again. We're going through another manager. Why have we done this? They've won. Without maybe taking into the context again, like we were talking about yesterday, that actually everything would change. Everything is going to change. And if they backed him, the people who want him to leave and can't see it in him would be like,
changing.
Nothing. The first thing this guy gets a chance to do, he keeps this clueless manager, the fraud. Look at him. He can't. We're doomed now. And not taking into consideration that it would be something different by keeping the manager and changing everything else around him. Because I'm not against that, really. Like I said, I want to see Eric get to that stage where we can see him maybe in post with a whole new look Man United, with players going out the door that he really didn't want, and players coming in that he really did want, or players identified that will help us play a consistent style, and then he can get to work with them tactically and just focus on the coaching. And then a whole year of hardly any injuries, hopefully, because surely we can't be this unlucky again next season. Like those types of things, I'd like to see Eric make it to that, but I just don't think he will, because I just think it will just get worse from here between now and the end of the season, especially with the injuries and stuff, and how he's basically the type of plasters he's putting on the wounds. Basically, I just don't think they're enough.
So we're looking at backlash regardless, aren't we? Really,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Course.
We're looking,
and then if he says nothing, it does this, where we're all just like,
exactly. So from INEOS's point of view, I guess that is a bit of a challenging thing. They're like, what is the best way to handle this?
I prefer them to say though. Because at least if there's arguments once it's been said, it's still like a underlined bold text. Like, well, we can say all this, but he's staying.
Well, also as well, you can talk about
shut down the channel.
Season's exactly. Season's pretty derailed though, anyway, isn't it? So like, would it really affect that? Would it really affect that much though? So I think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting point of view as to whether. Because the more I was thinking about what Gary Neville said the other day, I think he is right. I think in their head, they know which way they're going. Absolutely. And it's only sort of exceptional circumstances, positively or negatively, that's going to change that. I.e., if they've decided we're getting rid of Ten Hag, but he makes top 4, then they might go, maybe we keep him. If they've decided we're keeping Eric, but it gets worse, then they'll go, there's a lot of people actually available this summer. Maybe we have to make a change now before it's too late. So very interesting.
Very interesting. What is very interesting is what's going on in the chat right now and the super chat area. We are going to get into that right now. We're nearly 1,000 people watching live, which is really good for this early in the show. Only 13 minutes in. Brilliant. We're at 162 likes. Let's get to that 250. And you know what's about to happen here, guys. Let's just start right at the top, though, with respect. Sanjeet, thank you for the super chat as well. Says, a season of lows. We can have the ultimate low with our last game of the season at Old Trafford being against Arsenal, where regardless of the result, it means one of Arsenal, City or Liverpool win the title. Yep, that's just, unless someone falls off or runs away with it before then and it's done with more than 2 games to go. Because we play Arsenal with 2 games to go. At the time of playing Arsenal, that would be that game and one left. Will the title race go beyond that? I think it will. I think it go down to the last day, the way it feels. And I think either one of them can win it within the last 2 games, is my prediction. Dominic says that Flex and Owen, you are so patient. Last night, KG was a challenging watch. A challenging watch. Yes, we were talking about Kara's points before, but Carragher bringing it to light helped Erik ten Hag address it, which he did poorly. Interesting take that. Very interesting take. And Ugwa, thank you for the super chat as well, says, exactly, Flex. This is some Moyes level of delusion from Erik ten Hag. The criticism has more to do with the lack of a clear or shite plan on how we play football. And now, as you can see, The Pharaohs are in the chat. The time has come. The Pharaoh has returned. All hail the Pharaoh. Owen, over to you.
Nubian! Good morning. I'm back from my brief sabbatical, enjoying the discussion. Emoji.
Yes. Big up to Nubian Pharaoh, enjoying a discussion. We've been enjoying a discussion. And again, thank you for the super chat, Nubian. Good to see you back.
Acknowledge me.
Correct. Good to see you back from your sabbatical. Hope you're doing well. Hope the meetings are going well. Hope the family is good, etc., etc. Marion Jones, Daniel Luciano, M.A., Jason Ramon with the Pharaohs. Who else put the Pharaohs? Loads of people. Harold Van Dyke, Court Star, Aria, Kenny Fan TV, Relentless Red, loads. Joe Blackman, Lil Yo-Yo. Yeah, the Pharaohs have been pharaohing, so big up to everybody who's got involved in that. And Red Baron says, I can't wait until Erik ten Hag outers are served Potter.
That's an interesting point when people about that, isn't it? The Graham Potter thing.
Yeah.
Because should the fear of what could potentially come after Erik ten Hag dispel desires of people if they want to go in a different direction?
Well, usually no, because you say that's not a reason to stay somewhere where you're not happy just because you're scared of what might happen. It's actually probably the opposite. But it is what happens a lot. So who'd you get then? Well, so who else then? And sometimes I think people who suggest change, people who disagree with them say that they must have the actual answer. Do you know what I mean?
I've been guilty of this
that's
before.
Not always the case.
I've been guilty of this. I've done the whole
who'd you get?
Who'd you get? And that was earlier on in the season, because I do think like the calls earlier on in the season, I think were premature in the sense of I thought they were premature or not realistic, because some people were calling for him to go in like November when we knew that it wasn't possible. Like that wasn't possible to happen. And that was my pushback at the time is we know. So what's the point with that? You know, it's not like the analysis when you go, we know we're shit, so don't talk about it. It was more the case of that's not realistic right now. Now, I mean, and I think this is the INEOS point of view too, is that they do look at what's going on with a lot of teams in the summer. They do look at like a De Zerbi, and I think reportedly he's got a release clause in his contract. De Zerbi's gonna leave Brighton this summer, basically. Feels
that way, doesn't it?
Reports of, he's a Bayern Munich plan B if they don't get Xabi Alonso, which might mean he's a plan A because Xabi Alonso might go to Liverpool. There's reports he could go to Barcelona. You could see him absolutely working at Barcelona, couldn't you, with the style of football that he plays? And sometimes that's enough to push people too, is going, oh man, these people are available. What are we going to do? And I said it yesterday. I think what INEOS need to do is if they're going to make a change, then they have to do it this summer. If they're not going to make a change, then Erik ten Hag, for me, then needs to stick around for another 2 years or something like that. Or it's either you get rid of him or you offer him a new contract, I think. Because what's happening right now is the beginning of this new rebuild, this new look Manchester United. And the question is, do you want Erik ten Hag to be involved in that? What I don't think they should do is do like a Chelsea when they look at like a Thomas Tuchel and they go, we'll keep him in, we'll have a bit. And then actually they realize quite quickly, no, actually, we're going to go in a different direction. We want to get someone else. We want to get Graham Potter. Make that decision early and stick with it. Either you want him or you don't want him. If you do want him, new contract, keep him, build around him. If you don't want him, go in a different direction, go get your guy. I don't think what we can do, and I know Cage has been an advocate for this, of like, oh, wait till Christmas or wait till next season. Because then we are then going, oh, actually, we might have to restart things, where it's a bit of a stop-start situation. You either start or, you continue as on. And that's the decision I think that INEOS have to make.
Yeah, I think they just got to get on with it. And do you know what? The more, I suppose maybe we're going overboard as well, because this is fan noise. Because, well, it's not just fan noise, actually, because there was some reports yesterday that was basically questioning his tenure. But it is after that Fulham loss, and it is weird. We're actually in good form, like results-wise, in the last.
Yeah, it's like 5. It's loss, win.
Yeah, and you know what? That is true for a little bit of context. It all depends what happens. I mean, it's tough because a lot of people aren't expecting us to get past City, which, you saw what they were like last night. And, it feels like it's going to be
scoring
It's going to be
scoring
awful.
6 before the Manchester derby. Haaland get a hat-trick.
Yeah, because people, not a hat-trick, he scored 5.
5, excuse me. So,
Yeah.
But,
and people sort of suggest, City aren't in the groove. And it's like they went, okay, right, we'll have this little audition warm up for the derby and we'll just get ready. But I think that's what's playing into that untimely Fulham loss, because we were saying in February, let's get 15 points. And it's annoying that we got to the last game of it, the one where you probably think this should probably be maybe the biggest formality of it.
Going
away to Villa, tough at Luton, the way it happened at Wolves, you can lose there. It's not easy.
Before Fulham, they were going 6 out of the 7 are in the bottom half. So now you should be taking those points. But because of that Fulham game, now that confidence,
the whole rhetoric.
Yeah, because of that confidence, a few weeks ago we were going to go, if we end up against anyone in the bottom half, we'll beat them. Now we've flipped back to, I don't know if we'll beat anyone.
Well, exactly. and really, that is probably, I mean, I've been part of that, because some people say Flex has been too reactionary recently. And I do get in my feels, like, I admit it. If there's been like a damn it. Here's Owen where he goes, I went, sorry.
No, because Flex does this. Flex was coughing the other day. The viewers will back me up on this. Flex says he wasn't doing this. The viewers will back me up. He was on mute and he was coughing, but he was like this.
See, it's just so. You see what I'm saying? Look, holding on to the side, trying to cough out a frog. Look.
But
this is what I mean.
You were,
and that's what I mean. What I did, I was on mute. I'll tell you what I done. I was on mute. Yeah, because I've still got this kind of cold as well and cough. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's that? There's not that much difference.
You just held on to the side for help, going back in the chair. That's just not. You're just lying. Just lying. But yeah, I can hold my hands up. I do this, and I suppose a lot of us do. And some people are better at this than others. When we have like a proper scathing loss, I do sort of go, we're miles.
It's the manner of it.
It's the manner of it. When we're building up, because you saw me when we scored against Villa. And Steph was saying that, and she was like, "Is this what it takes?" It's not sustainable. And I'm saying, I agree, it's not sustainable. But it's just about results. We've got to get it. But then when we get such a damning loss, I'm like, nah, man, this is like the way. Like, that's alarming how we were set up to be played against like that. And like, it is true. It was coming. Like, you can see the little, like, if Villa would have finished their chances in that game, we said it. We did say at the time, not in the moment that McTominay scores, because I don't believe in that. The game's on, like, just get the points and get out. You can do the inquest after. And we all said, yeah, if they had the shooting boots on, we would have lost the game.
Yeah, it was not maybe so much the Villa one, because it's like, I feel like going to Villa Park, most teams, that's going to happen. You do have to ride your luck. So you sort of go, okay, I suppose it's more like, I don't know. It's more maybe like the Wolves game where you go, you're in really control there. You still end up conceding 3 goals. Like, how does that happen? It's games like that when they go, and because of the nature of the win, and I suppose to an extent Villa, but because of the late goals, you get euphoric, don't you? And go, this is great.
Yeah.
When it's great, but then
you don't want to win games like that every week.
And then when people almost immediately afterwards go, yeah, but it wasn't great. You go, shut up. Euphoric. It's great. And
it's about a timing thing. It's about a timing thing of when you introduce that chat. Because for me, I just think Steph was doing that as McTominay was still celebrating the goal.
Yeah, but some of that was a bit crazy. That was like, he shouldn't be on the pitch.
He shouldn't be on the pitch. Yeah. And it's like, what we have, he's the most likely to actually come on and do that. But I did say the whole thing of what she was saying of like, not sustainable. Like, that level of play. It's true.
It's almost like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on his final season at United, wasn't it? Because we had those, particularly in the Champions League. We had the games with Ronaldo, Villarreal at home, Atalanta at home. Even when we played West Ham away that season, remember De Gea makes a penalty save and stuff like that. And you go, it's great. And then after the game, you sort of have to remember, he played very well today, actually.
No.
And I know we won, but like, bad stuff's coming. And
good teams don't win like that often. They win like that here or there, or nick out draws here or there.
Or like I remember last season with Spurs. Spurs were a great example with Conte. People forget last season Spurs for the first quarter or maybe half of the season.
Yeah, they were up there.
They were like top 3, top 4, and they were getting like late goals. But people remember. I remember a lot of people were saying at the time, going, yeah, but they ain't playing very well, and like it's gonna catch up, and it did. It did. Where did you go? You disappeared. Yeah.
like it did yesterday.
Now you're back.
That's weird.
Yeah, Flex just vanished.
You could hear me the whole time in here and see me.
I could hear you.
Yeah. And now I'm in 110p.
Now you're back. Okay.
Oh,
Flex just decided to teleport into a different location. You know.
Got annoyed. Was nearly going to shut down the channel. So.
Well, that's what I was worried about. I was thinking, Flex is taking this quite seriously.
Yeah. Red Baron says, just saying it'll be bittersweet. I'm more vengeful than Marcel. I'm very much Eric Ten Hag in because I don't see why you want to let him try with a new structure. Joda says, I'm 40 and 10 tomorrow. Hope United don't ruin it.
Leap year.
Well, I don't understand. What is that? So, because it's been 10 leap years since.
Yes,
technically, right?
Technically, yeah, it's 10. But
why did they even invent this?
It's not invented. It wasn't invented. It's part of the calendar, isn't it? It's about.
Yeah, but why?
Why about rotations or time around the sun?
But just
it's not exactly because it adds up every 4 years, isn't it? That extra adds up to an extra day.
That's nonsense. Just leave it.
It's not nonsense. It's just science.
Nah.
It's science.
Overrated, mate. That is.
What? Science? Overrated.
That particular part of it.
Empirical
so I like
fact.
Science, but I've never
empirical
bought into
fact.
that.
It's overrated. Well, it's not
buying
into.
I'm gonna have to YouTube. I want to watch a documentary on why.
Because it's not exactly 365 days.
But why is it not?
Because in terms of what is it? Distance as well.
I don't know because I think it's bollocks.
The length of orbit. It's not bollocks. It's like saying the Earth's flat. It's not.
Yeah, but it just should be 365 days all the time. Don't change it.
But it's not. It wouldn't work.
Why? Just say, it's moved and it should be 306. It should be 300.
Well, let's just change everything then. Let's just have 30 days.
No, just keep that the same. Let's
just have 30 days. Why not? Since we're just adding stuff up.
So why does it? So if it orbits, so basically what they're saying is how many years is it? Leap year?
4.
So every 4 years, it means that there has to be an extra day because of what? It took longer to orbit.
Because it's not 365 days. It's actually it's actually 365.25 days, and then every 4 years that adds up to an extra day. You shake your head. That's what it is.
Overrated, mate. If I was born on the leap year, I wouldn't be moving my birthday for that shit. I'd keep it the same, definitely.
And it has to do with everything. It has to do with seasons as well. I mean, there's a lot.
What? So now. What? It's not going to be. The seasons are going to change differently.
Well, they'd be slightly out of sync, wouldn't they? As well. And think Flex. If you just went on scrapping that over time, we're talking hundreds of years, but over time, then suddenly you've got however many days unaccounted for. You'd be well out of sync.
Well, not on my watch. I wouldn't. Not my calendar.
Would. Well, you would, because you'd be like, well, it's meant to be the summer here, but we've never counted that extra day for hundreds and hundreds of years, and now it's snowing in July.
Well, fair play to them if they've worked it out like that, then. But
what do you mean it's not worked out? It's science. What do you mean?
I've just always thought the leap year thing was overrated. I just don't get it.
It's overrated. It's true.
I just think it's false, actually.
All right. So
I just think it's something they've just add this in.
It's not added in. What do you think is conspiracy by the calendar people? We just need the extra day.
Well, not conspiracy. I don't think all right, there's a couple of extra points, something added on extra to just round it up. Just make it to stay the same. They can do that.
No, they can't.
They can.
No, they can't.
If they can.
No.
Who is they? They is the people
science. Well, then, but where do you stop with that? You go like this, gravity. You go, I don't believe.
Well, no, because that's just not going to change. That's what I'm saying. That's like them saying, but gravity's not going to work on every 4 years.
Who's they? Who's they, Flex? Who's they
Scientists.
says gravity?
NASA people.
Yeah, exactly. Scientists. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking to them. Yeah, I'm talking about them. That's what I mean. It don't change. Exactly that. This pen drops. Every 4 years, it's still going to drop. They're not going to go, I'll tell you what, after 4 years, the gravity slows down a bit, that pen's going to drop slower. No.
And what if I told you it did? You'd go, I don't believe it. So what's the point?
Well, exactly, because every 4 years, my pen would still drop at the same speed. So I'd say you lot.
So let's just scrap leap years because Flex said so.
Correct. Put a poll in the chat. Should leave you go. Lil Yo says, "Hey yo, I'm tired of using. Hey, I can't even bother to sing it, bro. But big up to you. Tired of using Flecknology.
It's embarrassing."
Dominic says, "We have not been informed though. We have been scraping wins since March last year, barring Everton and Chelsea. Our goal difference and shots faced is so damning. Love the show and you guys." Jerry says, "Flex thinks the world is flat." Fam, I don't think the world is flat. I don't.
There's a documentary on Netflix about the flat earthers.
Flat earthers. Is there still people who actually think that?
It is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I won't spoil the ending. People have probably seen the videos of the ending of it, but they do an experiment, and it's brilliant.
I definitely don't believe that. Although when I was younger, I was like, because the world's obviously a whole, like, you know, it's round and stuff, and you go underneath, and I always used to think, like, how did we not? Obviously, I know it's
fall off.
Yeah, it's like, how does the water, like the bottom of it, why doesn't it just all fall out then? But, you know, that thing called gravity, I suppose. I actually did well in science. I got a double award, 2 Bs.
I don't even know what I got in science.
I did all right. I did all right.
I did triple science for GCSE, you know, them individually, chemistry, physics, biology or whatever. But I hated physics. I couldn't, too much maths in it.
Too much, I'm not really, biology was my thing. I didn't.
No, I was rubbish at that. I wasn't very good at science, to be fair, in general. Chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Chemistry.
I like chemistry.
Tough. It's tough. That is tough.
Acid and alkalines. Joe Blackman says, "Science isn't always right. We used to think the world was flat."
Flex still does.
Apparently, I still do. T says, Owen researched a 13-month year and come back to me.
Oh,
what does that mean? Okay. Lil Yoda says, Kanye Fleck, Jurgen Fleck, whinge. Kanye Fleck. Yeah, listen, we all got our views on things. Eric Ten Hag backs Antony.
Yes, so this was quite interesting. So we got the quote here from Eric Ten Hag. So he was asked about Antony. First of all, he was asked a little bit about maybe why he's dropped out of the side this season. And he was asked about whether the off-the-field stuff has affected that. And Eric Ten Hag said, of course it has. That was, he was starting games and then came back, wasn't starting as many, etc. But he also then stressed that shouldn't be the case now. When asked about Antony, he said, "We will support him. I know he is capable. I know what he's capable of. I've seen it. I've seen it for Ajax in 88 games. He scored 24 goals and 22 assists and was performing in the Champions League. He was unstoppable. Unstoppable, Flex." Now, we were just chatting before we went live. I said, first thing I said to Flex, I went, "Have you seen last night's press conference?" And he went, "Why?" And I went, "There is a bit at the end with Jamie Jackson that I recommend all of you in the chat to go watch this morning because it is brilliant." Now, Jamie Jackson sometimes, when in the press conferences, you know, like laid back, Eric. I wish I had like glasses. Eric.
Yeah, I haven't got mine.
Eric. And usually sometimes it's like, "Do you think you got 3 points to save your job?" It'll be like that. But he goes to Ten Hag. He says, "Do you stand by that Antony is the quickest player over 10 yards?" And you can see like Ten Hag's a bit taken aback by it. He's like, "What do you mean?" He went, "Because I've never seen it. I've never seen that, you know." And Eric Ten Hag goes, "Well, I've seen the stats, whatever." And he goes, "Really? Because, you know, I just don't think I've really ever seen him sort of go past anyone, really."
Jamie Jackson.
And Ten Hag's like, "Well, yeah, you know," he's trying to think of specific instances. He's going, "Well, yeah, he scored goals against this. And he goes, "Well, just really pace because, you know, it's kind of just natural. Kind of, you either see it or you don't see it, right?" And Eric Ten Hag, they just sort of end it with Ten Hag saying yes and Jamie Jackson going, "Well, okay, fair enough." But it was such a weird back and forth, and it led me to wonder, and I suppose the chat can let us know about this. Is Antony, would you describe Antony as having pace? Or is Eric Ten Hag right? It's over 10 yards. But is that like, you know, when you said KG, I think KG's really quick over 5.
I don't think he is. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because Antony's been so poor for so long, the first thing that comes to your head when you think of Antony right now, which is quite sad, it's just nothing good.
£86 million.
Yeah, it's the price tag, and oh my God, worst flop ever, and our worst purchase ever. Like, this guy's just terrible. Like, that's the feeling, which is not nice, by the way. Must not be nice for him. I do think, although I think he's limited and we should sell him, he's not the guy. I do think he is better than what we've seen. Like, it's like I think he's gone down a quick downhill spiral, confidence-wise, stuff going on off the pitch. Not playing games, where becoming a bit of a meme, everyone onto you, and it sucked any form of level of confidence he may have had. But I think Jamie Jackson's got a point, because it's like I don't see him go past people all the time. I don't see him rapid where no one can keep up with him. What he did do well in the very few times he might have done all right in games is he can take the ball and carry it up the pitch fairly quickly. But then, like we were saying, then he just stops.
Then he stops. Then he stops.
But the initial bit actually is probably quite quick. He's got quick feet. But he's not like, when you say like blistering pace, and you think like prime Theo Walcott or prime Michael Owen or prime Dan James.
Someone like Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale's a great example of that.
Kick and run so fast,
travel with it or whatever.
He isn't. He isn't that. But Eric's just basically taking it to the next parameter, the next level, to back him, because he's just going in and look, like I always say, you can say everything you want, but mate, you started Amari Forson ahead of him the other day.
Yeah.
And the time was right to make the change. You put Ahmad on the right, and you never play Ahmad. Do you know what I mean? Then Lindelof got a little bit injured near the end, and then he brought on Antony just to fill in at left back, just because. So he's going to start tonight because he absolutely has to. We don't have anyone else, and Forson can't play again after what happened the other day. But I do believe Eric backs him, because obviously he did have him at Ajax and did see a better version than this. But that transformation from Eredivisie into Premier League, the same way how he saw Donny van de Beek balling out and he got here and was like, nah, himself. He can't just blindly just say that he's going to be good again.
He's got to back him in the sense of, I said this during the press conference yesterday, that managers can be defined by their big signings, can't they? You look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. One of the biggest things people will talk about in his tenure is Harry Maguire, £80 million. Like they will always talk about that when they talk about that. And yes, they made a captain. Erik ten Hag will be the same when it comes to Antony. They'll go, Antony, €100 million or 86 million quid. It's a lot. And I know people go, hey, that wasn't him, and he wanted him earlier. I totally get that. I totally understand. But like you say, actions speak louder than words, don't they? And you can back him, and you can say, I know he'll come good and all that kind of stuff. But he's not playing him. He's not picking him at a time,
because he knows he's in such a bad moment. Like,
exactly.
He can't do it now.
And what was interesting, as I mentioned, with that back and forth between Jamie Jackson and Erik ten Hag, was that Jamie Jackson is right when he's saying that, going like, okay, I don't think people are necessarily doubting that he's quick, because he is quick in that essence, but
just don't show it.
He doesn't show it. I mean, if you're a fullback and you know that Anthony Dos Santos is going to be on your side, are you worried about him like beating you for pace, going past you in a game? I don't think you really are. You're worried
you're just not worried about him at all. You'd think he's just shit.
You think
that's the problem.
You would just say like, okay, show him down the line, make sure he can't cut inside, try and block that off, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, once you just make sure he can't
about
it.
That's about it. He might try and do some tricks and like go past you one-on-one in that essence. Is that pace, or is that because he's a skillful player? I'm not sure. And this is what was kind of confusing for me of Ten Hag talking about earlier on in the season about a team that wants to play in transition. As you mentioned, Antony can transition up the pitch fairly quickly.
Yeah, he can do that. He can get the ball, get his head down and carry it.
But then he stops. And it's almost like at the point where you're going, right, you've done like some of the difficult stuff now. Just pass it off to whoever's near you. But it will stop. And it will stop, flick his leg around a little bit, and then usually pass it back to either the fullback or the midfielder that's running. They're back in position by that point. Easy, no problem.
Ed says it best there. You're worried about him trying to meg you at most. Like, he tries that thing when people come running in where he rolls it. The one, you got your soul on the top of the ball, you just try and roll it quickly through their legs. He does that a couple of times. He can meg you because he does the Brazilian thing. He's got the quick feet. He tries to.
But even then, when he does go past you in that instance, 9 times out of 10, like you said, he'll stop or he'll come back. Or it's almost like he goes, I went past him. Did everyone see that?
Or let me wait for him to catch up. Let me try and do it again.
Do it again. Yeah, and you'll go, but okay, where's the function here? What are we doing?
And the problem with Antony, with what we've seen, his decision making is just so poor. His execution, there's been times where, how many times have we seen, like, play the ball now, the ball through's on, does it outside of the left foot because he can't use his right, and just nothing. How many times have we seen him sort of face someone up and say, just go on your right? Saka does it all the time. Go on your right and just just flash it across. Like either stand it up on your weaker foot or just put your foot through it on your weaker foot. Cross it. But no, always wants to go on the inside. How many times has he tried the Antony special, the curler to the far stick into the top corner, which never goes in? Might get a shot on target the odd time here or there, but mostly it goes
hits
over.
The post. Hits the post.
Or he hits the post doing that. Then he gets the bit where, like you said, he can pick up the ball deep, drive with it. To be fair, get us some yardage, and sometimes, occasionally, win us a foul where we go, well done for getting us up the pitch. Like I said, keep going up the pitch, but then you're going, right, cut in now and play that pass. Look, you got a runner on the other side in Garnacho or Rashford. Slide him in. Doesn't do it. The only thing I can say he does consistently, which it's a fair observation, is that he does work hard. Like he does run back. Like he won't leave Dalot to when we say Rashford doesn't run, like he's just got his arms down, and Antony does have that dog mentality where he will run. Like he's not doing anything great, but when we don't have the ball, he will work back and try.
Yeah, and Ten Hag pointed that out. Not talking about Antony, but he spoke about something that I noticed during the match. I was saying it over and over again. That first half against Fulham, Dalot, it was 2-on-1 every single time down Fulham's left-hand side. It was Iwobi, it was Robinson, every single time. That was happening so often. And he even said that we had to fix it. And you have seen why in the past, rather, he has stuck with Antony because he believes that sometimes if he plays anyone else, they don't do that defensive work and the fullback gets exposed. Now, I think, unfortunately, maybe for Antony, he's dropped off so much from where you could argue, but he's dropped off. And Garnacho, Ten Hag does trust him to do that work now. He trusts him to come back and support his fullback and also deliver more in attacking areas. So that's why when we're at our strongest and everyone's available, Garnacho's on the right-hand side now. That's his right-hand-sided player. So, but that you see we're forcing at the weekend.
He turned him into that.
That was a problem. Yeah, exactly. We're forcing at the weekend. In that first half particularly, I felt a bit bad for Dalot because he was just so overrun because there was 2-on-1 every single time, without doubt.
And you got Robinson, you got Robinson and Iwobi down there just making runs galore. It was a bad watch. It was a bad watch tactically. Any super chats more to go through? No. Red Baron says, feel sorry for every fullback that Rashford that has Rashford on their side. Dalot had to do two people's jobs against Fulham, which is what Owen was just talking about. Rajul says the Earth takes 365.25 days to orbit the sun. 0.25 times 4 equals 1. So that means it's 1 extra day added every 4 years to make up for it. Well, that's, it's good for everyone. That's just how it is. I just don't agree with it. Let's move on. Well, actually, first, like Josh said earlier, the likes aren't liking at the time. We're at over 1,200 people watching. We're at 320, so we've got past the 250. You know where it gets to now. We try and push towards the 400 mark so that by the time we get to the end of the show, we can have a big push for the 500. That's our new standard. That's our new routine, guys. You don't know this. And if you don't know this, you do now. You do now. So let's get those likes up and get subscribing to the channel as well. Oh, where are we at? 160, 964. Probably a bit.
Maybe we can get to 970. Maybe we can get to 970.
970. Small increments. Let's round it up. 970. Let's get to that. On tonight's game, decimated with injuries. We've just spoken about Antony just then, and helping your fullback and this, that, and the other. Antony actually had probably his best game in United's shirt against Forest in the league last season.
Yeah, he gave Dalot an assist in the game. I remember
Dalot an assist, and he just played really well. I remember saying actually that was a good game from him. Then I think he played. Did he play when we lost there this year?
Well, I was funny actually. I was again prepping for this evening's match view. I was putting together the highlights of when we played earlier on this season. It was New Year's Eve or the 30th, just around the turn of the new year. And it was you and KG on the match view. I forgot your hatred for Turner in goal. That came across,
and he don't play now, so
a lot in the game. Today. But you were, like as I mentioned, you were furious, absolutely furious,
and I was right.
Yeah. And after the game, you called Matisse to call a truce. It was that bad as well.
Oh, it was then, Jesus.
Yeah. And that was one of Nuno's first games, wasn't it? Now, in sort of more recent weeks, they've dropped off a little bit. I mean, I would recommend guys go check out the preview of Wolfie because he was sort of saying, wasn't he? He was going, well, I'm not in the best of moods, just when I think we're sort of okay. And now
it was weird.
Okay.
I had to try and bring it. I was like, so you expected to go to Villa, who hardly anyone beats, no disrespect, and turn Villa over. And it's like, no disrespect, you're like hardly anyone goes to Villa and wins. You know how hard it is to win there.
Exactly.
So because you lost that, now you're like, you know what I mean? And you beat West Ham just before that, mashed them up. And I'm like, really? Okay, fair enough.
It was like two people trying to prove to each other how shit their team was. We're rubbish. No, we're rubbish. No, we're rubbish. No, we're rubbish. What are we talking about? We're rubbish. So yeah, as far as tonight, I mean, we're back into that territory. Just when I thought away from home that we got a bit between our teeth again, beating Villa, beating Luton. I thought, actually, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be scrappy, but we might get it done. Now, given the result of the weekend, and also today, like we said earlier on, today is when you do look at like the people available and go, that is a problem. Our back four, what we were going through points of the season, we're like, our back four is completely screwed. Our back four is completely screwed again. It's happened again.
Yeah,
everyone's gone. We don't have a left back. We have one right back. We have two recognized. If you count Cambuala, senior. Should we say 2 senior centre backs? That is all we've got. And our 2 centre backs are Lindelof and Evans, which, no disrespect, you go, wow, challenging, very, very challenging. So yeah, that is a problem. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, let's talk solutions. What do we do?
Well, I know people are saying, well, they said Varane's a doubt, but if Varane's a doubt, then he's not playing because you've got to get him for the derby at the weekend. So even if he was potentially riskable, I don't think they would risk it. So I don't think Varane's going to play. And their way is interesting. Wow, that's what was going to be my interesting one. Do they risk Bruno, or do they go, oh, we won't risk it? And what happens when Bruno doesn't play?
What happens as in like the result, or you mean who does he pick instead?
Well, I remember when he didn't play in the Carabao Cup earlier on in the season, we won 3-0 and everyone was going because Bruno didn't play.
He didn't play against Liverpool. We got a 0-0 and everyone went, see.
That's what people do. But who plays instead of him? Who plays instead of him?
Let's do this right. So let's do this from back to front. We know Onana's going to play. Me personally, with what we've got going on, I'm putting Dalot left back. I'm sorry, I have to.
That's what I was thinking.
I have to. I've got to put Dalot left back. I don't think Eric will do it. I think what Eric will do is keep Lindelof left back, play Dalot right back, and if Varane can't play, I think he'll go Cambuala and Evans. But that's
interesting.
Because he played Cambuala at West Ham, but that was next to Varane, wasn't it?
Yes. My thing I was thinking was, like you said, I was thinking maybe Dalot goes left back. You then have Lindelof and Evans, and then you have Cambuala at right back.
I wouldn't mind that. To be fair, for the balance of it, I'd probably rather have Lindelof and Evans secure.
But I can see what you're saying. Maybe he might just go, I want to not move as many people around as possible. You know? I don't know.
But Fleck Cambuala isn't ready like Forsen is. Yeah, but Cambuala.
But then you go, who else? Who else can you put in there?
No one else. I don't want to see Amrabat at fullback. Don't want to see it. I don't think there's much difference between him and Lindelof at fullback, really. It's just as crap. I think the least impactful would be to put Dalot to the left, Cambuala right back. But then you might have Cambuala and Antony as a right-hand side, and that's maybe he just keeps Lindelof left back, keeps Dalot for right back because he wants the continuity and just plays Evans and Cambuala.
Maybe he does. Keep everything. I don't think he changes shape. As
far
as
he definitely won't do that.
I don't think he's going to change shape or anything.
No, he definitely won't do that. Some people saying like the wing backs, that ain't going to happen. Midfield, let's say Bruno's not there. Leaves a problem up front because he's for fuck's sake.
Kobe Casemiro. That's what it will definitely be.
It'd be Kobe Casemiro, and he'll put in McTominay.
I don't think he'll go with Eriksen because he'll be like, it's away from home. I know Eriksen did play at the City ground earlier on this season, didn't he? He did play in that game.
He got run past quite a few times.
That was part of the clip, wasn't it? Gibbs, they don't want to be here. And Eriksen, in fairness, was just looking like
Christian. It was just looking.
There was nothing wrong with the way he looked. He was just sitting there,
timing.
But I think he'll be McTominay. And then you get into the front three. What do you do then?
He's gonna go Antony, Rashford,
Garnacho.
He's gonna play Rashford through the middle again, man.
No, Ahmad.
No. because Antony's going to start. And Antony can't start anywhere else apart from on the right.
And well, Antony came on for Lindelof at the weekend, didn't he? Which was strange.
Yeah, but that's just.
I wouldn't read too much
Lindelof is injured near the end. He's not, he was just knackered. Yeah, so I was watching Lindelof; he was blown out his ass. Antony can only play on the right, and that means that Garnacho will have to play on the left because he's actually our most consistent forward. That's there, and Rashford's going to have to just probably do nothing up front again.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's just.
Hey, Flexi scored earlier on this season against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, because Matt Turner was playing and he gave the ball to flipping Thingy, and now he's not playing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have scored that day.
I was watching those highlights, and it wasn't even really celebrating the goal. You just cussed out Turner.
Yeah, I said, I told
like
you.
5 minutes.
Look, I told you. Because he's crap. He's crap. And look, in January they went, we got to get another goalie, and they did. And now Matt Turner don't play no more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, Ganado Fry says, been a member for 3 months, says 1 extra day a year, shut down the channel. And Danny says, is there going to be no UV content tomorrow, seeing as the day doesn't exist, according to Fleck?
Well, exactly.
Not going to work either. I'll decide tomorrow. Don't know. And Ivor says, we'll probably win tonight, then low block till Kingdom come on Sunday, but I'm convinced Eric won't be able to manage his way through the City game. Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario this week, well, obviously best case scenario is you win both games, but a realistic, well, half realistic thing is like we can get through somehow today. We're still decimated. We're going to get feasted on by City, but somehow everyone predicts we're going to lose 10-0, which like the Liverpool game, there's no way Man United don't lose by more than 3 or 4 goals against Liverpool. We managed to stink the joint out and get a draw. I just can't see that against City. But listen, 1 game at a time. Let's just try and get through today. I don't even think we're going to win today. So 1 game at a time. I'll be really happy if we win today because I just.
Well, it is nice to have this game as a distraction because if we just had City this week, you know what I mean? The constant thing of that on the horizon would be almost like, oh my god,
exactly.
what's gonna happen?
Oh,
whereas
honestly.
I don't know. Yeah.
But there you have it, guys. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got to 366 likes. Let's get to 400 on the way out. It is match day. Me and Owen will be live for the game this evening. Loads of pre-match stuff. Honestly, Owen, I apologize from now if I'm gonna hurt your ears because.
Well, we'll be live so kickoff's at 7:45, of course. We'll be live 2 hours before, as we've been doing recently. So I'll be live at 5:45. Flex will be in shortly thereafter at some point before kickoff. And yes, we'll be with you to hopefully see if Manchester United can get through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. You've got to be in it to win it, Flex. You never know what the draw you can get.
You do.
So, yes.
Yeah. See you then, guys. Take care. See you later on. Peace.